What's shakin' bacons? I hope you guys are having an awesome weekend so far. I went and saw Deadpool 2 today, DP2. We're gonna talk about it. I think I'm going to split up this section of the review into non-spoilers, and I'm going to have another video that is all spoilers. I think that way it's easier for people not to have to worry about needing to quickly click away like normal, which is what I typically do when I tell you guys to scooch along if I'm going to talk about spoilers. If you're new here and you like talking about movies and gaming and things like that, and the occasional rhapsodic love that I display for Traveler's Notebooks, please feel free to hit the subscribe button down below. It's free, doesn't cost you anything, and that way you can join the community as we go along and talk about movies and tech and games and fun things like that. To no one's surprise, Deadpool 2 returns in full with all of Deadpool, the first movies, gory, hamming it up, no lines left uncrossed, no topics left untouched or unmocked, off the charts style. And one thing I love about Deadpool is that it really gets people so on board because it's just so unfiltered compared to every other movie that comes out that it's really easy to get super stoked for Deadpool. Some of the people that we went and saw the movie with walked in wearing Deadpool costumes, and I was stoked. I love it when people dress up for movies. I mean, I would have worn a Deadpool costume if I had a Deadpool costume, but they walked in wearing the Deadpool costume and I was like, oh yeah. I love seeing stuff like that. That means that the people that we're watching the movie with are going to be into it. They're going to be super interactive with the movie, and it's going to be a really fun experience all around. So I think we all know that this movie is produced by Ryan Reynolds. He also helped write it. And of course, its main headliner as Deadpool is Ryan Reynolds, although there's a lot of really fun cameos with other famous actors and actresses in this film. And we have some good intro performances. I guess, hold on. I shouldn't say intro performances because most of the people in Deadpool 2 are in other things, but they're sooner in their careers than others. So Deadpool 2's primary focus is centered around protecting a young mutant, Fire Fist, from Cable. And honestly, that's really all I can say here. Reason being is that the trailer actually did a very good job of editing to disguise the full nuances of the plot to this movie, because the story is much more nuanced than that basic summary that I just gave you, and then what is actually shown inside the trailers. Actually, I went back and rewatched the trailers. I was very impressed at how well they edited them, because there are scenes where you know that in the movie they pan to the next character or they deliver the next line and it's a completely different sort of tone and feel and arc than you would expect given what the trailer shows you. So that I'm very impressed by the editing and the trailer not giving major twists and plot points away. So I would dive further into detail about the story, but I'm gonna zip it here because I don't want to be spoiling it for anybody. This is the non-spoiler review. You know what I'm saying? I think like the too long didn't read version of this review is going to be me just saying, if you liked the first Deadpool, you're gonna love this one. A lot of sequels fall short of living up to their predecessors. This one doesn't. Thank God this is not one of those. There are some really awesome fight scenes. It is non-stop action. There's really not any slow parts to this movie. It is going to grab you right from the get-go and you are just going to run along with Wade on his merry adventure. If you didn't like the first Deadpool, you're probably not gonna like Deadpool 2, because Deadpool 2 is like the first Deadpool on steroids. It knows what works from the first movie. It knows how people responded well to it, and they took that and they ran with it. Like, they were gone, and they fully embraced, probably with the full buy-in from the studio, now knowing that, hey, this stuff is a major seller. They take it and they run with it. So if you didn't like Deadpool 1, since Deadpool 2 is Deadpool 1, just way amped, you're probably not going to like this one. But if you really enjoyed, you know, at some point I should just do a counter or a ridiculous compilation of how many times I accidentally smack my microphone, because I do it constantly, and I drive myself insane. Anyway, and I just did it again when I said that. Personally, I think that the story for Deadpool 2 was actually stronger than it was for Deadpool 1. It's kind of funny for me to say that because I was thinking about why I felt that way. Part of me feels almost like I shouldn't feel that, simply because Deadpool 1 was like the renewed origin story of Deadpool. And I feel as though I shouldn't discredit the origin by preferring the story in this one, but I honestly do. The story is just much better written, I think. While it is very predictable, it's way less predictable than the first one. It's less by the books than the first one was, and I really appreciate that. The other great thing about this sequel is that you not only get to continue enjoying and experiencing the characters, including the side characters that we were introduced to in the first movie, but that you also get a full rounded cast of new characters that you can get invested in, don't detract from the originals, versus having the original characters just completely fall off the map in order to make way for this new cast of people. What's great too is that these new characters are super fun. Like, honestly, everybody knows one of the new characters is Domino. She ended up being like my favorite character out of the whole movie with her power of luck. Brilliant idea. I love how it was conceptualized. I loved how they depicted it in the movie. There are very, I don't want to say subtle, but there are smaller depictions of her luck kind of triggering throughout the rest of the movie. And some of them, if you weren't watching closely, you may not catch. But if you are paying attention, they're so clever the way that they're woven in there. And it really reminds me of like the Harry Potter lucky potion. The only character I think didn't get the same level of featuring, if you will, as the rest of the characters was Negasonic Teen Jungle Storm, or whatever the heck her full name is. I gotta be real, I can never remember her full name. What's her full name? Negasonic Teenage Warhead. I kind of like Jungle Storm better. She actually really didn't get the kind of screen time or feature that she did in the first movie, and I don't think she got the same kind of featuring that anyone else did in this film. Really, she wasn't that explored other than to introduce Yukio as a character. And while I like Yukio and I love her, it was kind of weird to me that it was noticeable that Negasonic was the only one who didn't actually get a lot of interaction with the film. I also find it really interesting this year that so far this year, Josh Brolin has portrayed two of the major villain characters in Marvel movies, and they just so happen to be two of my favorite villainous depictions so far. I mean, he did an amazing job of Thanos. I do think, like I said in my other review, that I think that his depiction of Thanos could have been taken to another level, and it wasn't. And I think it was a combination of CGI, and it was a combination of him not stepping up his voice acting, because Josh Brolin really is a very gruff, I'm a gruff and tough Josh Brolin. But he did very, very well as Cable. And I think that's because we not only get the full strength of his acting, but we're not having to interpret what he's doing through the purple meat slab of a face that they CGI'd for Thanos. You actually get to see the more intricacies of his acting ability, which greatly, greatly enhances his impact as an actor. And the acting overall, I thought, was very well done. I really enjoyed all of the cameos that were in this movie. Ryan Reynolds, of course, is like the quintessential Deadpool. It's almost like he was made for the character of Deadpool. He has become Deadpool. I didn't even have an issue so much with the youngest actor in the movie, which was Julian Dennison, who got a chance to shine as Fire Fist. Unfortunately, I had the same issue with this movie as I did with the first Deadpool, in that the story was just really predictable for me. I was able to guess just about everything that was going to happen, even the stuff that was not in the trailer that, as I said, they did a really good job of editing around it. But I was able to figure out and almost completely guess each plot turn and what each character was going to do. I kind of have to agree with Deadpool's jabs at some of the story, where even in the trailer he said, well, that's just lazy writing. For that, I had to deduct points on my movie rating scale for predictability. Deadpool 2 really is highly entertaining if you enjoy this kind of humor. It is just one large running gag. There are really good jokes. There's really good tongue-in-cheek moments. There's a lot of physical humor. I think it's always a good time when Deadpool breaks the fourth wall and he talks to us as the audience, or there was even a couple moments where a character would say a really good double entendre that wasn't intended by the character to be, but Deadpool catches it. He kind of gives you the Jim from The Office reaction where he just stares straight at the camera, and that's super enjoyable. There are so many good and funny moments in Deadpool 2. This one kind of got to the point where it was almost tiring how much there was. And it reminded me of the second Guardians of the Galaxy film. Marvel's whole thing is humor, and they do a very good job at it, but there are times it goes overboard, and you get to a point where you're almost oversaturated. And you think, oh, here's another part where I think I'm supposed to be laughing, and then you don't laugh. I think that movies need a lot of ups and downs to highlight the truly comedic moments. And the problem is that Deadpool is so full of them that you never truly get enough downs to get as fully into the humor as you could with the first movie. The music is absolutely great. I am not often tempted to go and purchase the soundtrack for a movie. I think the last time I was the first Guardians of the Galaxy. I loved the music in this movie. It was so freaking fun. I had to deduct a point, and the reason why, there was a huge missed opportunity for a song in this movie that would have been perfect. Like, I mean perfect. To the point where I was expecting it to start playing, and when it didn't, I was kind of confused. At least I can't think that there's any way that it would have been overlooked. And I have to just wonder, maybe they couldn't get the licensing rights to the song, or maybe they couldn't come up with an agreement. And I don't think this is spoiling anything. The song I'm talking about is They Should Have Had Downtown by Macklemore during a certain sequence, because it would have been a perfect. And I want to just note, if you're seeing this movie, and I do recommend, definitely go see this movie if you're a Deadpool 1 fan, because this one's better and you're gonna love it. Make sure you stay through the very, very, very end of the credits until all the lights come on in the theater. There's a lot of post-credits content. Like, I mean, there's a lot, not just one. They set up a potential sequel, and you do not want to leave the theater and find out later that you missed some major stuff. So keep your boot in the seat. And quite frankly, it's really kind of difficult to talk about this movie without revealing large chunks of the full plot and characters that appear and things like that, because the trailers did such a good job of editing. You don't see the full picture in them, and so I don't want to continue talking about this and ruin anything for you guys. So I'm going to stop here. My rating at the end of the day for Deadpool 2 ended up being an 82% on my movie rating scale. So if this kind of film, if it's in your wheelhouse, definitely go catch it in theaters. It's really, really fun. I'm going to be doing a spoilers talk soon for this movie, very soon. So make sure you come back for that and we can talk about spoilers there. Tell me what you think about Deadpool 2 in the comments. Keep it non-spoilers until we get to the spoilers. I don't want to accidentally ruin anything for anybody in the comments. I would feel really bad if that happened. And if you want to hang out live on Twitch, make sure you come over 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's when we're hanging out on Twitch, twitch.tv/travelerswarden. If you guys want to come and play along with games with myself or the Twitch community, please join us there, and you can even catch up on past streams by going to the videos section on Twitch. And if you'd like to support me on Patreon, please feel free. You can hit the notification bell as well, and honestly, I am grateful for any and all support you guys give me. Of course, if you're on Patreon, I do have extra goodies and things that I only put out there for my patrons, and I do want to say, again, big shout out to all of the patrons I have so far. You guys are amazing. All right, guys, I'm outie. Feel free to check out one of the other videos if you have not yet already, and I will catch you later.